Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce Monthly Radio Hour. My name is Ed Dwyer, founder of Dwyer Advisory, a proud member of the Chamber, and your host the first Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. right here on WSOS 103.9. Joining to me, as he has each of the last several months, we've been doing this together, Scott Maynard, Senior Vice President, Economic Development, Public Policy. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. You know, I know you're from the South, so this heat's nothing to you, but it's been cooking these days, isn't it?
It's been tough.
But, you know, it's a Chamber of Commerce day for us today, right? Well, as we do each month, we get to do some really fun things where we feature our members from the Chamber. And it's always a great, just fun thing to do because, you know, we know of the businesses in town, but sometimes you don't know the backstory. And so today we've got a kind of a really long-standing Chamber member and business that's been around for a while. So we have Stephen Hudson here with Catch 27, a restaurant right downtown, 40 Charlotte. I know it well. A great part of town. It's a great story. Local Flagler College alum, I understand. And so can't wait to hear more about that from Stephen. And then in our second and third segment, we have two ladies here who were winners of the Chamber's Pitch Factory. And if you've been listening to this show, you know what that is because we've been talking about it for the build up to now. And that program went on for 6 weeks, and it ends with a pitch, naturally. And we have our two winners here. So we'll be featuring them in the second and third segment. And then our fourth segment, we'll be going through some things around. We finally have a budget at the state. We have some things coming out of the different efforts on the budgeting and so forth. So we'll close up with that. So with that, Scott, why don't you introduce Stephen?
Yeah, Stephen, so glad to have you here today. I know we were talking earlier about your journey in the restaurant business, and you were mentioning we were talking about the new space, and you said originally that was a 3-year plan that kind of got drug out to 12 years because of life and the pandemic and kids. But talk a little bit about your restaurant journey and Catch 27.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Good morning. And I can certainly attest to it being a hot one these days. Just so happy to be here. Proud member of the Chamber for many years now. You know, my journey here in St. Augustine started back in 2005 when I went to Flagler College and got a job at a local restaurant and fell in love with the city and the industry. And after I got my business degree, I was trying to think about what I wanted to do with my life. And, you know, I'd been in restaurants and I said, well, this is pretty easy. Not easy. Why don't I try this? And after working on a couple ideas for a few years, we finally pulled the trigger on Catch 27, signed a lease in 2012. We opened January 2013, and, kind of the rest is history. Yeah.
So what does Catch 27, where did the name come from?
Yeah, so Catch 27 stands for Fresh Catch, and 27 because Florida is the 27th state of the union. So we focus on fresh Florida seafood as much as we can, fresh Florida produce, and we work with a lot of local purveyors, and we try and feature as much as we can from Northeast Florida on our plate.
And, you know, that is so important because you, by doing that, are investing directly back into our community and into our region.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more of like a celebration of what this community has done for a very, very long time. We actually have a seasonal partner with the University of Florida, their Department of Agriculture. They do a lot of test crops to see what can be successful for this soil in this environment, both now and in the future. And we don't mind being their guinea pig, where they give us, sometimes truckloads of artichokes or a test varietal of potatoes that they're working on, and they don't want it to go bad. So they work with a lot of local restaurants like us to test out their product and to serve it to our guests.
Yeah, and that's so important as well. You know, so many new residents are in St. Johns County, and if they haven't traveled down to the southern third of the county, they may not realize how strong of an agricultural presence that we have here. And, through the Hastings community and all of those farm communities, there is a tremendous amount of agricultural products that are produced there that are shipped literally all over the world.
Yeah, we're not just a beach. Yeah, got lots of farms.
Yeah. So I know you're downtown in an old historic building, and I know you just expanded, and the pictures of the new space are absolutely gorgeous. I know it's going to almost double your capacity. Would you talk a little bit about going through that process? And I also want to hear about, because we're just sneaking into hurricane season, and I know you guys have really taken that into consideration and hardened your building and taken some precautions just in case. If you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, this, like you said at the beginning, this has been a long process for us. From when we moved into this new structure, new to us at least, about 10 years ago, I had a vision of what I could see the building like in a few years once we made some modifications. And, life was interesting, and it threw us some curveballs, in the form of, I have a couple of kids now, and which my wife and I are super happy with, but they certainly complicate things, just like hurricanes complicate things and pandemics complicate things. So it took us a lot longer to accomplish our long list of things at the property, but now it's like everything has come to fruition, and it looks gorgeous, and we really can't wait to showcase it to our guests. We're able to do special events now. We just hosted our first micro wedding, and it was a blast, and we're really able to customize our menu, do like 5-course meals for people that need something like that. We're also able to do much better corporate dinners. For anyone who needs to host, maybe a holiday party, we're able to do a lot of those things now, which we weren't able to do, before. And then for hurricane proofing the restaurant, we are in the historic district. We are 4 feet above sea level. If you remember when Hurricane Matthew came through, the storm surge was about 8.5 feet. So my kitchen was completely underwater, and we learned a lot of difficult lessons through that. Subsequently, Irma, Ian, Nicole, all of those storms, we flooded for each of those. But for each storm, we had less and less stormwater, come through our property. And with this last renovation, we really storm-proofed it. So now I have big flood barriers, and we're able to protect the property at the street rather than have any of that flood water come into the property, into our patio, any of that. So,
and I know the new space, you said the sweet spot there is 20 to 40 people. I know we're in July, but you hear Christmas in July. This is really not too early to start planning those holiday parties, because it will be here before we know it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we already have contact with several law firms and doctors' offices and accounting firms, all looking to have their holiday parties, because some of them want to do it before the craziness of Nights of Lights. Some want to do it just after. Very few want to do it in December and kind of compete with all of that. But the nice thing is, if you really want to check the box off early and beat the crowds, we are marching into local season. We've got with August and September, everyone kind of goes back to life as normal with the school starting back up, with families all going back home, getting into their routines. So it really opens up downtown for people to find parking easily and really enjoy it.
Hey, Stephen, curious about one thing. Being locals, how do you see your business relative to tourists versus local? And are there, do the locals get a deal kind of a thing I always wonder about?
Sure. Yeah, I like to think of, the mix between locals and tourism. I'll use a food analogy like a cake. I want this to be a restaurant for locals. So they're the cake. Tourism, that's the icing.
Okay.
So. And in terms of deals, I actually do have several deals that I do email blasts, and I do posts on our Facebook and Instagram pages through the year.
Okay.
For something like either, give us your birthday, we'll send you a free dessert sort of deal, or, something even as much as like 15 or 20%.
All right, Scott, we got to get on the list. I didn't know they do that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one last pitch from yourself. Just make sure everybody knows where you are.
Yeah, so Stephen Hudson, Catch 27 restaurant in downtown St. Augustine on Charlotte Street, just one street right off the bayfront. You can visit our website at catch27.com, make reservations. Walk-ins are certainly welcome, and we'd love to either host your date night or your holiday party.
Awesome. Well done. Yeah, your menu's on the website. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And you can get your reservation right there. So, yeah, that's really well done. Stephen Hudson, thank you for joining us. Stick around, everybody, because we have our winners for Pitch Factory coming right up.